Hello, the internet. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you the scrap yarn ball I've been working on for a long time. But yeah, I'm going to show you the scrap yarn ball that I've been working on for a long time. The gist of it is that it's a ball of yarn I've been making from like the ends of the cast on little part of knitted stuff. Let me show you what I mean. So like this, like the ends. So whether that's, come on now, whether that's the end of the cast on or the end of the bind off, once I've weaved this in, I keep it here, and I make a yarn ball. This is the ball. Focus. It's having a hard time. This is the ball. And I'll show you how I tie it all together. It's not that hard. It's kind of boring. So I have a lot of scraps here I've been saving. So let's get into it. So there are 3 things I like to keep in mind when I'm tying these strings together. There are, however, no rules, and sometimes I just don't follow what I'm about to say, so maybe take it with a grain of salt. It's all up for whatever you want it to be. So number 1 is the color of the yarn. So the color of the strand at the end of the ball that you're tying to, and the color of the strand you'll be tying to the ball. Basically, I want to make sure that they go together. Or if I'm feeling spicy, maybe they don't go together. Artistic choices. Leaving it out there for yourself, whatever you want to do. Number 2 is the length of yarn. I want to make sure that I'm doing a good short to long strand ratio so that the knots I tie to connect the strands aren't too close together. If the strands are too close together, when you go to knit the yarn, it'll be annoying, and trying to distribute the yarn evenly might be difficult. If the strands, it's okay. If you use strands that are too long together, you just won't have as much of a funky visual interest in your finished project, which, it's up to you. Again, artistic choices, whatever you want to do, have fun with it. And the 3rd is the weight of the yarn. Now this is something I don't necessarily care about, but you might. And I do take it into account mostly for visual effect. I think it's fun to have like a super bulky weighted yarn tied to a worsted weight yarn. I mean, in the end, it'll probably be a nightmare to knit, but I think it'll be visually fun. If you don't think it'll be visually fun, maybe you want to, stay within the same weight of yarn. So don't be me if you don't want to be. It's all up to you. So the takeaway here is I don't take this too seriously because I know it's going to be pretty wild when I finally use this ball of yarn for whatever I use it for. It is what it is. Ultimately, like something I kind of maybe want to do with this one day is have just do like a wild sweater or something one day. So I think I've demonstrated this in my reclaimed yarn video before. Link in the cards. This is a technique you can also do with yarn colors that do match. So when you're knitting and you're adding in another ball of yarn after the other one has ended, it's a way to do it without weaving in the ends later. So that's something else you can do. So this is kind of hard to see in the video. So this is a little animation I've made to demonstrate how to do this technique. You have yarn 1 and 2 on a tabletop, lay 1 and 2 horizontally, take yarn 1 and lay it over top of yarn 2. After that, you'll take yarn 1, under yarn 2 and yarn 1 and bring that tail of yarn 1 back up over the top of itself and through that hole and tie that knot around yarn 2 and pull tight. Next, take yarn 2 and put it under yarn 1. Bring it back over yarn 1 and 2, and then bring it under yarn 2 and pull it through that hole and tie a knot around yarn 1 and pull tight. So now holding sort of the ends of yarn 1 and 2 on the parts of the yarn that aren't between the knots, and pull those knots together. So now you'll take some scissors and trim it down so that the parts of the yarn aren't sticking out. I'm very quick at this now, but it did take some time to get used to doing. In the video here, I don't really need to lay them down on the tabletop anymore. Sometimes I do, though still, it all depends on how I'm feeling. Now, as I connect the strands, I'll let the tail get longer, and then wind it all up into the ball every so often. You can do this however you want. I like to leave enough out that it's not tangly when winding the ball, but like I can still tie the knots. It's just how I like to do it. So, as you can see, it's not very difficult and it doesn't really take a long time. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, to be quite honest with you. It's probably, I knit so much, it's probably going to be in progress for years. It's been in progress for like 3 or 4 years at this point, so it's probably going to stay that way. So, yeah. There's nothing too revolutionary about it. Just a way to, if you don't want to, waste that little bit of yarn at the end there. Here you are. Made a little Franken ball, little scrappy ball. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, tell me if there's anything you'd like to see me knit. Yeah.